It is that time of year. Content is wrapping up. I made this video last year. I'm excited to make this video right now. Your Madden 24 promo tier list. We're really going to start in chronological order, starting from the beginning of the year, going all the way to the end. And let's get right into it with the Headliner Pro. Headliners is always tough because it comes out so early that you really can't engage with a lot of the content. That matter of fact, the 84 overall heroes are probably the more important and just used cards in general than the actual champions and the LTDs. But either way, Headliners is really never, it can't be bad because it's just the first content in the game. I'll be honest, the champions this year weren't that desirable. Like, this was kind of the theme of promos this year. The names were just really weird. Like, Kenny Pickett wasn't that good of a card. London was okay. Cam Curl was probably the best card out of the first drop. I mean, when we talk about the first drop, probably the best players were like Kadarius Toney, Trayvon Walker, the Isaiah Likely you could get as an objective card. JC Horn was a defensive back budget beast. When abilities didn't matter as much, so those cards were fun to use. But even the second drop, like JC Jackson he wasn't like the best corner when he came out. Taylor Decker was probably the longest lasting card out of anybody. He was like the best left tackle in the game for quite some time. So I'm going to put Headliners right in just the top of C tier. I don't think it belongs anywhere higher, but not really anywhere lower. Next up, we've got Campus Heroes 1. Only a one-time drop. Headliners was a two-parter, but Campus Hero 1's was a game-changing program for a few reasons. Not only did we get 4 champions, and the champions were pretty good. Now, this was before we had lurk artists, so Manti Te'o didn't really have much impact on the game, but Bo Jackson, running back, was the best running back in the game for like a month and a half. It felt like just, a card way before its time. Sean Taylor didn't have the best of man coverage, but was still really good. I think most people just used him at the time. And I'm trying to remember, the LTDs, Joey Porter Jr. and Jalen Hyatt were both good. But the main reason why Campus Hero was like just a really good content drop was it was the first theme team, right? Getting 25 theme team was very, very easy because the champions all got ×2, ×3. The Michael Meyer free card you got ×3, and he was a decent tight end for the time being. And the final champion, Logan Mankins, was just a guard, so nothing really to talk about there. But overall, it just kind of started the wave of the theme team promo, and it was the popular theme team for a good month or two into the game. So I'm going to put Campus Heroes in high. I want to put in low A tier, but there wasn't that much depth to the promo, right? Like, there was only 4 champions, 2 LTDs, but the promo and then the promo theme team, there wasn't like a head-to-head event. I'm gonna put it in high B tier. It's probably gonna be the top of the B tier for the rest of this video. I actually did record an earlier version of this video, just ended up going way too long. So I think I had it actually in low A tier when I recorded them, but I think I've recognized there wasn't that much depth to the promo, but still overall a great content drop and a good start to the year. Next up, we've got the Ultimate Kickoff promo. Now, this promo is saved by one thing, and it was the Darren Waller event, the first head-to-head event we got throughout the year. Waller was very, very expensive, like was going for 600, 700K to start, settled down around 400, 500K, and it was just it was a really fun event, great way to make coins. The actual content we got, not the best. It was actually a 2-part drop, but we only got 2 champions per each of the drops, which was weird, really, really weird. So we didn't really see it the rest of the year, and then the cards themselves just weren't that good. Like, that's the best way I can describe it. Aaron Rodgers just didn't get the right abilities, I think, for him to be better than like Warren Moon, who was out at the time. The Javon Hargrave was actually decent. Juju Smith-Schuster was decent, but nothing like, you didn't feel like you had to have these cards. Honestly, the thing I remember most from Ultimate Kickoff was it was the first time I invested in overall, that being 85 overalls, and it just didn't really go that well because, again, there was only 2 champions per drop. I think Aaron Rodgers and Hargrave were the first 2 champions released, and then the second one was Jadeveon Clowney and Juju Smith-Schuster. And then the LTDs, I mean, decent. Jawan Taylor. Jermaine Edmonds wasn't good because there was no lurk artist at the time. Gilmore was okay but expensive, and then Jawan Taylor was one of the best right tackles in the game for a long time, but he also, I think, was pretty damn expensive when he came out. Overall, I'm just putting UK. The only reason why it's not in D or F tier is because the head-to-head event. If you had to have a head-to-head event tied to your program, it's hard for me to have you like below C tier. So I'm gonna put it in behind. I am gonna have these guys in order, so it is gonna go behind Headliners in the C tier. Next up, I'm going to group these two together. We've got Team Builders and Divisional Dynasty. Now, Team Builders, let's be honest, The only time we care about the team builder content is the first one that drops with the game. They were 85 overall, so actually a little bit higher overalls than normal, and they were very good cards, right? They were comparable to the best of the core elites, right? Joey Blount was, the defensive backs were amazing. Grant Delpit, Joey Blount, those cards really good. It also made for some great just coin making opportunities in general for the first month or 2 months of the game. But the problem is after the Team Builders 1 release, there's nothing more to the cards. They don't get ×2 chemistries, I believe, like they used to way back in the day. And the cards are always like 4 or 5 overalls behind the highest overalls in the game. They're not going to get any special abilities. Team Builders straight into the D tier of promos. In the Visual Dynasty, definitely a little bit better, right? They have like the Super Champions or the Divisional Champions, which are really cool. And then the, just, you would say the normal cards do get ×2 chem. So they offer more just on face value than Team Builders. And they always are a little bit higher overall. They're usually, the champions themselves are usually tied for the highest overall, although they didn't get the greatest abilities this year. They still were decent cards, right? A lot of the offensive linemen were the best of their position when they released. And then the other cards are more just like theme team fillers. Like, I don't even say team builders or theme team fillers because, like, they're just ×1 chem. Like, you might as well just get, unless there's a player that at a position for a team that does not exist, Team Builders isn't really changing anything. Whereas, at least Divisional Dynasty, you have the ×2 chem, which is really, really cool. So, I'm going to put Divisional Dynasty in the low of C tier. It's not like it's not a huge content drop, so it can't really be too high, but I think it belongs right in the C tier. AKA the original AKA up next, and this, right, not your typical Thursday content, right? This is one of the weekly content drops we have over the next promos we're gonna rank. The AKA though, I think I prefer the AKA content this year to last year, at least for the first part of AKA. Now it got off to a great start with like Jerry Rice, Deion Sanders, and there was a good run. We didn't have LTDs with the first part of AKA except for the Andrew Luck and the Joe Flacco, and the Andrew Luck was really, really good, although he got replaced very fast, I think, by Joe Montana. Sucks that card wasn't the best quarterback in the game for a lot longer, but AKA was just, I mean, Mondays are always they've been a good MUT day for a while, right? We had, of course, AKAs in Madden 23, Madden 22, we had Bo Knows. Yeah, Mondays have been pretty good. I'm gonna put AKA, and there was a good run of content. I'm looking at it through the catalog right here. We had a run of like OBJ, Ed Reed, the Jay Jettas, Sauce Gardner, Johnny Manziel, like some of the biggest names. We got AK cards. DRC getting returned to the game. Yeah, they chose really, like, these were some of the best cards throughout the entire year. Were the AKA cards on money. Even the offensive line, which you could say are boring, ended up being, you know, not meta changing, but they were in a lot of people's lineups because they gave boosts to other offensive linemen. So I'm gonna put AKA in the high. I want to put it honestly in A, but I'm gonna start it in high B tier right now. I want to save A tier and S tier for the best promos throughout this year. Next up, we've got Legends. Now, Legends is a significant upgrade from last year's Legend program. Last year's Legend, I think I just automatically put an F because the cards were way too expensive. The LTDs were just like, the Legend program last year just made no sense. The abilities, and you have to like power them up to make them good. It made zero sense. So off rip, they 180 the Legend program from last year. They were some of the most affordable new players, at least the set cards were, every single week. We also have to remember that the Legend program, I think we're the only cards that have tier 3 ability buckets for a good amount of time. I think until maybe Harvest or Blitz, right? Like Joe Montana was the only quarterback that could get Hot Remaster for the longest of time, and there's a few of their, like, linebackers that got lure. There were some of the first linebackers that got lure cards, like Dave Robinson, albeit he was a very, very expensive LTD, was still very, very good. And the names overall for the Legends this year were just, like, they were the big name Legends, like we were accustomed to, whereas at Madden 23, Legends were like the B tier of Legends, and they saved the big names for the promos, like the Thursday content. This year, yeah, we're seeing Antonio Cromartie, Michael Vick, Calvin Johnson, like literally the best of the best, the all-time Legends of the NFL got Legend cards. I'm going to put Legends in a strong B tier. Again, I'm not going to put an A tier because it's only Saturday content. We only got 3 cards per drop. There isn't really too much pack, like, menu style of content that goes off it. It's just more, hey, 3 amazing cards are getting dropped on Saturday. The LTD started out not being as expensive, but later on, the LTDs became very, very expensive. You'll see, there was a shift in how they priced LTDs just based off the special offers and the pack odds. There was a shift in the middle of the year. Like, we had LTDs that were probably around the 600, 700K range, then all of a sudden, right? We got to around, it was pretty much around 0 chill when the LTD started to get to 2 million coins, especially cover athletes. That was probably the big change. Next up, we've got Team of the Week. I'm just gonna put it in D tier. Offer it. Team of the Week has been, and this is gonna be a word we talk about a lot of promos in this video, forgettable. Just the cards were not up to date with the best abilities in the game, right? They didn't compare to the AKA content, they didn't compare to the Thursday content, and they didn't compare to the Saturday content. So Team of the Week cards were always like just behind the 8 ball when it came to abilities, especially if you got a quarterback card. They just didn't get tier 3 abilities for the longest of times. And also the cards were just generally a little bit like expensive. The Team of the Week cards have always been a little bit more expensive than normal, just because their packs are not the greatest, and their packs always take specific Team of the Week cards, so they could be definitely priced heavy or priced high if the Team of the Week card is actually very good. Honestly, the most memorable Team of the Week cards I have from this year, a lot of the linebackers, they were the first to get the lurk artist ability when it came out, like the Terrell Bernard, Bobby Okereke, I think that's how you pronounce it. And the wide receivers were pretty decent, like Mike Evans had a few cards that was good. Keenan Allen had a card that wasn't that bad, but again, I'm looking at a lot of the champions. There was a quarterback every week or every other week, and the problem was, it's just the quarterbacks were, they couldn't be even top 5, top 10 in the game because they just didn't get a tier 3 ability when they released. And tier 3 abilities, you needed it because you had to compare against Andrew Luck and Joe Montana and cards of that nature. So it belongs to D tier. Yeah, great weekly content, great coin making opportunities, but the actual content, the LTDs also normally were pretty expensive. Just not that good. All right, back to the weekly content. Gridiron Guardians 1. I think we all know this is the first promo to belong in the F tier. Now, I don't believe it's the worst promo we got this year. I know some people are going to say it is, but we did get a few good cards out of it. It also was a content drop that came out right, and we kind of skipped past, like, the timeline is we had to go through the weekly promos, but Gridiron Guardians dropped right after Ultimate Kickoff. So the one positive thing about Gridiron Guardians, it was a 2-parter. We did get like 5 champions per release, so it was a big upgrade from the 2 champions we got from Ultimate Kickoff. The champions themselves, though, this was the first promo we saw, or really the second behind headliners, where the names of the players were very, very confusing, right? Jermaine Pratt, Lawrence Guy, I love Oso Digizua, man, Yusuke Bruin, but like, come on, man, he's not a champion. Drew Dalman. Like, I'm not a casual by any means, but I'm not following the Atlanta Falcons offensive line. I had no clue who Drew Dalman was before he got a champion card. And even the Trevor Lawrence, I believe these cards didn't get tier 3 abilities as well. So like Trevor Lawrence, he wasn't a top 5 quarterback when he came out. Najee Harris was slow. The only good cards that came out of this program, you would say, are Quentin Nelson was decent. He was the best left guard in the game. Isaiah Simmons was one of the best users in the game. Kyrie Elam was one of the only players that got deep in Elite, which was ahead of its time. And then Vita Vea was like decent for run stopping. I think he got like goal line stuff for 0 or 1 AP, which was okay. But in general, this was like the first content drop where everyone was like unanimously like, this is shit, right? Like this isn't moving anybody. It was kind of like, hey, we'll just save our coins for next week. So it belongs in F tier. Just didn't do anything. No head-to-head event. Again, packs and rerolls just aren't really going to be mentioned in this video because they're all trash. There's really only one content drop that kind of had made coin packs relevant. We'll get into that, but yeah, Gridiron Guardians belongs in F tier. But right after Gridiron Guardians came one of the best promos of the year, and I'm going to put this one straight into the A tier, the Unstoppable program. It was the first 90 overall cards in the game, only a 1-part drop. It also, might I add, was the last drop where we got the champion training offer. Don't know why they stopped those. I mean, it's to sell more packs, but that was like part of the reason why the LTDs weren't super expensive, is they offered a way to kind of get them and keep their market down and supply them into the market without them being over 1 million coins, albeit the Josh Allen and Derwin James were very, very good LTDs, and they were priced around 600, 700k. They were around 1 million coins when they first came out because, again, they were very, very good cards. Just a very good promo all around. We had Kyle Pitts, DK Metcalf, 2 of the best cards at their position. Myles Garrett was an awesome. I played him more at defensive tackle, and the same with Quinnen Williams. Just overall, like all 6 of the champions / LTDs. Now, Josh Allen wasn't my cup of tea, but he still was a top 3 quarterback when he came out. Just when these cards came out, they were significantly above the next best player at their position, and it was just an all around a great promo. We also had the Derrick Henry you could get for free, although you kind of had to give a. I think you had to complete like a champion set. You had to lose like 100 or 200k to get the Derrick Henry, but he was a solid card. Also introduced the Unstoppable X Factors, which I actually enjoy and I like because you have to earn them for you get them all game. And it's not like they were super overpowered. There was no, I think it was angry runs with Derrick Henry, but it wasn't like, it was really hard to obtain. But yeah, Unstoppable promo. It is the first promo, in my opinion, that belongs in the A tier. Most feared, the first seasonal promo of this video. I count seasonal being most feared, Harvest, Zero Chill, and Sugar Rush. Most feared, it's a tough one because it could have been S tier had they did the Trick or Treat store, made it unlimited, right? Because you had, and I'm not really knowing where to throw. I'm gonna have it. I think I'm gonna have it probably in the high of C tier. And I know that's controversial because it was a good promo, right? It was a 4-parter over 3 weeks. We got actually, I'm gonna put it in low B tier. They had a lot of champions, right? That was like the one thing that was really good. The champions, were they questionable, right? We got a punter, a kicker, a fullback. Part 2 was really a dud. But the good thing was we got a lot of them, right? Especially with the Arcana champions. Also, the LTDs weren't that expensive, so you could actually, they were like 500, 600k. They were affordable when they came out. It was just a lot of content. It's just the content wasn't that good, especially coming off of Unstoppable. A lot of these players, like if they were at a position like Titan, like the Donald Parham, normally this would be a amazing content, but like he just wasn't better than Kyle Pitts. And the same goes with a lot of the defensive linemen. They weren't better than Myles Garrett. They weren't better than Quinn Williams. So like most feared was just kind of released following Unstoppable, kind of ruined the vibe and the excitement for it. And it also didn't hurt that the part 1 drop was kind of underwhelming. It being Jared Allen, and Marshawn Lynch. Like the cards they're like decent names. They just weren't that good. Like they just, none of the cards and the theme team put all together after 3 or 4 drops was really good. But initially, Most Feared was definitely, like, from a community standpoint, was an underwhelming promo. But we did also, we had that at event that gave the Trick or Treat alternate currency. But again, the store to exchange that currency was just utter garbage. Like, the best part about, like, you got a champion, a B&D champion for free. But that was about it. If it was unlimited and, like, you could grind the event and just get all the champions for free, that would have been awesome. That would have been an S-tier promo off of that alone. It's just little things, little mistakes, and pettiness almost from EA and a little bit too much greed that just makes a promo go from low B tier, or it's probably middling between the B and C tier, could have been an S tier promo just off of the store alone combined with the head-to-head event. But it belongs for me in the low of B tier. All Madden up next, and this one is going to go right smack dab at the top of A tier. Let me explain. 2-part content drop, full legends, right? Meaning like there was no current players, which was unique this year because a lot of the champions we got that we saw throughout the entirety of the year were current players. They definitely scaled back the amount of rights they had to legends, whereas Madden 23 I think was the best year ever for legends and how many names we got. This was one of the worst years. Now, we had the big names, we just didn't have the number of names, but all Madden promo was all legends. We saw some of the best legends we've gotten this entire year in the all Madden promo. Now, Brian Dawkins, this was like kind of the first LTDs that were super, super expensive, but I mean, we're talking Brian Dawkins, Ronnie Lott, I think Kurt Warner, Ricky Williams, like just the names. I'm trying to get that on the catalogs. We'll have all the names. Here we go. Ken Riley, Greg Olson, William Perry, Derek Thomas, Champ Bailey, Warren Moon, but he was really, really expensive. John Runyon, Grammatica was the best kicker in the game for a while. But what makes this promo really stand out above the rest and why it's an A tier is the head-to-head event, man. The Isaac Bruce event was awesome. It was just seasons, and if you won it, you got a card for the first week or two where he was 600, 700k. He was 1,000,000 coins for the first day. I ended up winning the event, I think, on day 2 or day 3 a few times, and he was still going for 600, 700k. Was a great way to make coins and just, you know, made head-to-head seasons just that much better. I wish they did this more often. Now, it wouldn't be as special, but still, having it to where if you win a Super Bowl, you get just basically a 600, 700k stimmy check was awesome. And still, like, the prime of the Madden Ultimate Team year. Belongs in A tier. I don't know if there's any debate for that. Next up, we got Harvest. This is a promo that falls in the lines and the describing it as kind of just, again, forgettable. It wasn't bad by any means, but again, it was the only only seasonal promo where, well, Sugar Rush didn't have a head-to-head event, but there just, like, was no alternate. There was nothing special about Harvest. It was kind of just, hey, we brought out cards. The theme team was, like, decent. I guess the best thing about the cards was that they got dual chem, meaning you get the Harvest chem on top of their theme team, or their actual team chem. So, at the time, Broncos and Harvest split 25 was very popular because there was a bunch of Broncos defensive backs, like DRC, Champ Bailey, and then we got Patrick Surtain, 92 overall for the Harvest promo. I think it just belongs in the high of C tier, man. There just was nothing, like, looking at the champions, they were good, they were decent. Jeremy Chin, Surtain was okay. Mahomes was, like, the best quarterback for the time, but he's never really a good card. Deion Sanders was a good LTD, although he was expensive. Edgerrin James was a really good running back. Like, I don't know. And then also, like, the other part about Harvest is they have, like, the upgradable cards if they hit a goal on Thanksgiving, but those cards are always super expensive, and they're never that good because they make them 1 or 2 overalls below the highest overall, and they don't give them any special abilities or discount abilities for the time being. So, just forgettable. That especially for Madden 23, Harvest was probably B or A tier because of the names like Randy Moss, Aaron Rodgers, Lawrence Taylor. Just forgettable. That's the best way I could describe the Harvest promo of Madden 24. Blitz promo, Blitz promo, Blitz promo. I think I'm going to put this one in the high of F tier. I have strong opinions on the Blitz promo. Mainly because the overall premise of it and like the outcome and the effects of the Blitz promo is typically, right, the market crashes. It makes everyone else be able to build the team for super cheap. Now, the champions are always expensive, but I think they went overboard with it this year. I mean, we're talking the LTDs, Puka Nacua and Nolan Smith Jr. were 2 million and 2.5 million. It just, Blitz, and then also, I don't spend money on the game. I don't spend money on packs, but I also love saying that in every video if I can. But for people that were spending money, these were some of the worst Blitz offers we have ever seen. For the general hype that Blitz usually brings to the game, I'm sorry, like, the champions were good. Brian Branch was really good. Anthony Richardson was the best quarterback when he came out. Christian Gonzalez, I think, got not the best ability, so he wasn't used. Javon Kirsch was really, really good. One of the best D linemen for a long time in the game. I like, the champions themselves were 1 million coins, and the LTDs were 2 and 3 million coins. The pack offers were awful. The market for in general, like, didn't even drop that much. A lot of the high-end meta cards just didn't drop at all because, again, the offers weren't that good, and this probably belongs more in the D tier, but for the expectation of a Blitz promo and what it does to the market, the excitement, the 3-day, right, that weekend is usually awesome for menu players. It was very, very boring, and, like, I don't even think I streamed on, like, the Saturday or the Sunday. I streamed Thursday and Friday. I'm like, all right, well, there's not that much to do, and didn't stream the rest of the week. And so, out of premise for what the Blitz promo normally is in terms of excitement and hype, I'm putting it in F tier. Cover athletes up next. Now, this one is going to be probably the first controversial ranking I have. I am going to put it in the high of B tier. Now, the cards themselves, very, very expensive, right? The actual LTDs, they had baby versions, but they just weren't as good as the LTDs, right? The LTDs had the discounted abilities. We had the first 0 AP Lurk artist in Ray Lewis. Again, this was, like, part of the problem with Madden this year. A lot of people felt like, now, I actually like expensive LTDs, meaning like 1 million coins and 1.5 million coins, but any LTD above 2 million coins for, you know, a game of football where you have to actually have 30 players on your team that you play, there really should be no card above 2 million coins, let's be honest. It also doesn't help that, like, LTDs themselves this year get Redux very, very fast, so you buy a card for 2.5 million coins, and then 2 weeks later they get Redux and they're 750k and you lose just a ton of coins. Now, that's probably by design by EA to have you lose coins and, you know, eventually become broke again, but it just, like, the whole LTDs being 3 million coins and they get Redux after 2 weeks is really, I didn't like it. I enjoyed an LTDs, like, oh, you could buy them for 1 million coins and they would stay 1 million coins for a month, and you would retain your value. And yeah, if you were trying to afford that card, it kind of sucked they never dropped in price, but you knew once you bought that card, the value of it held. So cover athletes introduced, you would say, also alongside Blitz, it introduced the mega cards, right? The 2-3 million, when Lamar Jackson came out, I think he was like 3.5 million coins. He did drop on the day of an MCS event, Elim, so, like, that's part of the reason why he was super expensive. But the reason I have cover athletes, for all that I'm saying bad about the cover athlete program, and it's really more of just, like, packs in the store being content. There was no actual solo challenges, no way to earn these cards for free. What cover athletes did for the overall market was awesome. It made the market crash every single Sunday. The coin making opportunities and just in general, the rest of the market would drop by 20 to 25% every single Sunday. And so if you couldn't afford the new cover athlete cards, the best thing that happened was, hey, you could upgrade your team and get cards at super, super discounts. And they also would rebound in price for you to, like, actually make coins. So that's why I have cover athletes in B. For a good month, right, that cover athletes kind of ran Sunday was probably the most exciting day on MUP because you had the cards come out that if you could afford them, they were cool, but it just made for a great market and a great menu experience of just buying cards that just crashed in price, and then you could resell them later in the week, and like they would double in price and stuff. So that's why I have it in B tier. The market effects of this promo, just like it made everything else cheaper, was awesome. The first S tier promo in my tier list, and again, this is probably another controversial one, but if you have watched my content this year, or if you were in the streams during Team Diamond, you'll know why this is an S tier. Were the champions of Team Diamonds good? No. They were expensive. The names were awesome, but were the cards actually that good? No, they were not. And then, of course, even the super champions, Todd Gurley was 5 million coins, and JJ Watt, in general, just wasn't that good of a card. Now, why is this promo an S tier? And it's for the effects it had on the overall game. I can confidently say my favorite day in all of Madden 24 Ultimate Team was the Friday that Team Diamonds released. I streamed for 12 hours, and the way I was able to do that was opening up mystery packs. You could quite literally, the only time this year without a loophole, a glitch, or an odds boost, can go by training, open up mystery packs, and because there was a handful, like a handful of a lot of core elites, headliners, 80 to 85 overall cards that went for super expensive prices because of the Team Diamond sets. Again, you were able to open up mystery packs and quite literally profit. And then on top of that, right, remember Jamar Chase, Marlon Humphrey, Drew Tranquil. There's a lot of Team Diamond legends, man. Legends that went for 100k, 150k. Mark Andrews was expensive. Marlon Humphrey was expensive. Just a bunch of cards, man. Leonard Williams. I'm trying to remember some lower overall cards as well. I know the Kadarius Toney headliners went for a ton. Christian Watson. There was a few, I want to say, was the Ultimate Kickoff or I think it was Ultimate. There was a few Ultimate Kickoff 85 overalls that went for a ton too. Like the TJ Edwards was a 75k card. But again, you were able to open up mystery packs pretty much with coins. Yeah, you're exchanging coins for training, then opening up, profit, and have excitement when opening up coin packs and not really losing coins. And then on top of that, you're able to go into the exchange sets. Yes, the exchange sets, right? The 80-81 exchange sets. And exchange and try to pull these rare core elites that went for outrageous prices. And for a 48-hour period, you could kind of just sit there, and it was old school Madden Ultimate Team menus where you're able to open up packs, put the pack trash in exchange sets, sell the other cards that went for a lot. You could even slowly build up the Team Diamond sets, although you had to be quite rich to do that. It just was a great, it was a great, again, I said it was my favorite day in Madden Ultimate Team 24. It was the Friday that Team Diamonds released, and for the 2 days, man, you're able to just open up mystery packs, do exchange sets, and just have fun, make coins, and again, more importantly, not lose coins. The Zero Chill groups are up next. Again, we could combine these all into one promo, but I got their logos separately. First up, we have Monday Mix-Up. Not much to talk about here. It was like a three Mondays in a row where we got content drop. Josh Allen was really good. Isaiah Pacheco, the LTD was very, very good. Had the only like discounted deep out elite, but it also, like, they had no sets for the cards for the first drop. They had to add the sets in during week 2. This wasn't that big of it. I'm just gonna put it in high D tier. There just wasn't that much content for it to be anything higher than that. The Josh Allen was solid, but other than that, like, looking at the cards, the Keenan Allen, the Tank Dell, David Bakhtiari, these cards weren't that good. So it's high D tier for me, just out of respect for the Josh Allen outside linebacker and the Isaiah Pacheco LTD. Zero Chill is separated from Ghost. I guess we could do Ghost first. I'm putting Ghost as the new highest or best promo so far in the high of S tier. For what it was, remember, Ghost isn't just an all-around pro, it's just one singular content drop. You're not going to find a singular content drop better than the Ghost of Madden 24. The LTDs were awesome. Again, they were expensive. Randy Moss, Derrick Henry, Jordan Addison. But, the champions, we got, it was like 12 to 16 of them, right? Lawrence Taylor, Harold Carmichael, Julius Peppers, Andrew Luck. All these cards were the best at their position, and they stayed the best at their position for probably a month because of just the general Zero Chill theme team, but also the Ghost theme team was very good as well. Yeah, I don't think there's any argument for it being higher or lower than the S tier. It was probably the best pure content drop we got this entire year. And finally, Zero Chill. Now this one, again, one of the more controversial ones. I'm going to put it in the middle of C tier. I want to put it in D tier. I really, really do. But there was too much around Zero Chill for it to be lower than C tier. And the reason I have it in C tier, again, the champions were solid for Zero Chill. There was a head-to-head event that gave you snow. And the snow currency, was used to get some champions. There also was a glitch where you could pull like the LTDs out of the B&D champions. I know some friends of mine pulled Derrick Henry, Randy Moss, and that was really, really cool. But the reason why it's in C tier and why it's not in B or A tier was they ruined presents. They pretty much gate-kept them to where you had to play the head-to-head event to acquire the snow alternate currency to then be able to collect the presents. They also limited presents for the first time ever. So while there were some good things out of the Zero Chill program, like if we're going to talk about all around, right? Ghost was awesome, and the champions were really, really good. They were fun names: Tarika Woolen, Calvin Johnson, right? Really, really good champions. The damper it put in kind of it ruined for now, like future. Now we probably now expect there to be a limit on presence for the rest of Madden Ultimate Team history, which sucks, at least until they update their servers. I don't think it'd be any higher than C tier for what it did. And really, you might be saying, oh, who cares? Like, bro, Zero Chill, that presence, that is Zero Chill. Were the Zero Chill LTDs good cards? Yes, William Perry was awesome. Bo Jackson was awesome. But when you do it for the first time and you limit presence and then you gatekeep them too, again, we'll talk about Sugar Rush, but Sugar Rush at least allowed you the opportunity to not have to. They didn't force you to play head-to-head to get eggs. No, you could just exchange for the alternate currency, get as many eggs as you can in the store. But Zero Chill quite literally forced you to beat John Beast if you wanted to get all the presents. So that is why it is in the middle of C tier in this ranking. Next up, we got the promo following Zero Chill, and I'm going to put this one right in the F tier. Now, the only good thing that came out of KB02, I think there was a make right because the LTDs were not in packs, and you got a free Jalen Petrie or Calvin Ridley. But let's be honest, following Zero Chill and the theme team domination that it was, KB02, just the only good card that really came out of it, in my opinion, was the John Runyon, right? He was the best right tackle in the game for, I think, a month. Until Rob Havenstein and Genkai Force came out, or a month and a half. But, yeah, we only got 4 champions. The 2 LTDs were very, very bad cards. Their abilities, like, weren't that good. Like, it was quite literally cards that came out. If they came out in late November, they would have been, like, kind of celebrated. Also, we got, like, Ricky Williams and Derek Thomas and John Runyon, 3 players that had got all Madden cards in the middle of November. So it only had been a month and a half between the time that these cards got upgraded. So, like, it was duplicate legends when they didn't really need an upgrade, and just in general the cards were not that good. It belongs in F tier, high F tier though, because I guess the cards were affordable because they weren't that good. Playoff promo up next, a 3-parter. Now I actually took a break during Madden around this time, so I wasn't involved during the height of the playoff promo, but from looking at the catalog and kind of remembering how content went, the best thing I could say about the playoff promo was the theme team kind of put people off. It made a kind of a Zero Chill playoff theme team hybrid. Now, the LTDs were very, very expensive, but it was a pretty easy theme team to construct. And the best thing about it was they dropped a lot of champions every single week. I can't remember if the champions themselves were actually tied to the IRL playoff performances, because, you know, I think James Cook had a good playoff performance. Travis Kelce got an LTD, I think, for the last one because of his performance in the AFC Championship game. But I'm not too sure on that. Don't quote me. But in general, it was just kind of like very similar, in my opinion, to most tier. Now, the cards were very good. They were the best. Like, they got great abilities. I would put the playoff promo in the high of B tier. High B tier. Again, it's hard because there was no head-to-head event. Again, there was no real coin packs or rerolls that were that good. But the playoff promo dropped a lot of content, consistent content, right? Added the playoff theme team. In general, the cards were really, really good, and we got a lot of them. Playoff promo, B tier. Super Bowl promo, I think we all know where this one is going. The only thing the Super Bowl promo did not have, you would say, was a really good reroll or a loophole. Because that's really all rerolls now are packs are. Like, you need a loophole for them to be good. But what else is there to say about the Super Bowl promo? Past and present, man. You got some of the best champions, most overpowered. I guess the only thing that's not that good about the Super Bowl promo was the token that they charged $50 for, which sucked. The lighted up token. But, I mean, the cards themselves, the Super Bowl theme team was the best theme team and the longest lasting theme team we saw all year. You could argue you could still run the Super Bowl theme team right now, as crazy that is, because it was easy. It also, now the playoff promo I think was the first one to have the 60 or 70, but the Super Bowl promo was like very easy if you had all the champions to get the 70 out of 70. There was a lot of free cards you were actually able to earn through the field passes and like the sorry, I'm stuttering. McCaffrey, Justin Reed. Who was the middle? I'm trying to think of the middle. Who was the middle linebacker? Chuck Howley. Man, Chuck Howley was an awesome card that you got just for getting the collectibles or the objective tokens through solo challenges. And it was just And then also the head-to-head event, man. One of the best head-to-head events was just like the playoff format of a head-to-head season. That you're able to get like I think it was like 70 to 100,000 coins, and it was like 3 games you play. It was just, it's hard to argue that Super Bowl program is not the best program this entire year. And I think I have it at the end of these rankings. I think it's going to be my best program this year. The champions were S tier. They were the best cards of the game. They lasted a long time. The theme team was cool. The head-to-head event, altogether, the Super Bowl promo, S tier. Next up, a mini content drop, although it's definitely more of a content drop than years past because it wasn't just LTDs. They had set cards, but NFL Honors, it's going to go in F tier. The LTDs, man, they botched the abilities really, really bad. The only really, like, decent card was Joe Flacco, if I can recall. But the rest of the cards just weren't that good. McCaffrey already had his 95 overall, which is pretty much the exact same card. I think the CJ Stroud had worse abilities than his playoff LTD. I don't think there's that much to talk about. They also made the Lamar Jackson pretty much a running back. I know it's a funny joke, but they quite literally gave him, like, fast break and I think evasive as his tier, like, 3 or 4 abilities. Like, he got no passing abilities. His 94 overall cover star card was better than his 97 overall LTD. That explains the promo in its entirety. It's belonging in F tier. Alright, we got some weekly programs up next, starting out with AKA Cruise. This is gonna go in the higher, actually, I'm gonna put this one below the original AKA, and the reason being, AKA Cruise was an up and down promo. The not introduction, but the LTDs that they dropped in the AKA Crew content were really expensive, right? Chad Powers, Jamal Adams, Cam Chancellor's the most expensive card in the game, still at 5 million coins. We have Lamar Jackson. Just very, it's hard because the LTDs were the best cards we saw each week, and they were 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, and now 5 million coins. And then the champions themselves were very hit or miss. They started out kind of slow, and there was definitely some missing weeks, right? Like the Kirk Cousins, Cam Jordan week. What's it called? The Cowboy week with like Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman was meh. The Greatest Show on Turf, like really cool in concept, but when the game is decided by abilities, when you give the, like, they're just, I guess Isaac Bruce was decent, but like Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner weren't that good, right? Like the Andre Reed card was decent. Actually, I'm gonna put AKA Cruz above AKA. Some of these cards were very underrated, and they were semi-affordable. I remember like Andre Reed not being that expensive, but like, yeah, the Boston Tea Party was like, whatever, man. But there also were some great, like, as AKA Cruz went on, it just got really, really good, right? The Blur brothers, the Peanut Tillman, the Manning brothers, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Travis Kelce drop was awesome, and it then ended with a bang, quite literally Legion of Boom. Richard Sherman, Bruce Irvin, 2 of the best cards in the entire game. Even like the no-fly zone, Aqib Talib wasn't that good, but Chris Harris Jr. was really, really good. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have it. And I'm thinking, it definitely was good. I think I'm gonna have it in. I'm gonna put it right behind playoff promo. AKA Cruz was solid. There was a few bad apples in the middle of it, but in general, some of the best cards in the game are AKA Cruz players. So I'm gonna put it in the high of B tier, right behind the playoff promo. Weekly wildcards up next. I'm gonna put it in the low of D tier out of respect because it's weekly content, and the last drop of weekly wildcards wasn't that bad with Jack Campbell, but weekly wildcard, it is a spitting image of the team of the week content. They just never had the best abilities. They were always behind on abilities, man. They just were always behind. Like, you would get kind of upset, unless it was an offensive lineman, you would get upset if like your favorite quarterback, running back, or defensive back got a weekly wildcard player or card, because you knew that their abilities were just, one, you had to pray they gave the right abilities, and they didn't even give the right discounts a lot of times. Like, I can recall a lot of the defensive backs coming out just got man abilities, right? They would get like one man ability in one slot, and then a zone a discount in the other slot. So it's like, how am I gonna run some of the? It's just not a good man coverage corner, or not a good zone coverage corner, based on abilities. Also, the Nike program was just like, I feel like the Nike promo could have gotten a little bit. I guess it was solid. Like, they were big names. Like, it's just the cards weren't that good. And also, can I say it? The card art was terrible. Very, very lazy when it comes to the card art, if that means anything. So I'm putting it in the low D tier. The only reason why it's not in the F tier was it was good weekly content. The best thing about weekly wildcards was the sets. The sets were profitable pretty much at any point, at any day throughout the week. So weekly wildcard, low of D tier. Ultimate Legends. This one is weird because Ultimate Legends started out awful. If you guys remember the first few Ultimate Legend drops, this was on the, it was on pace to be an F tier. But my god, Ultimate Legends now, these are some of the greatest cards in Madden Ultimate Team history we are getting on a weekly basis because of the built-on abilities and the built-on 0 AP X Factors. As the time of this recording, they kind of just revealed the new Ultimate Legends for this week. There is going to be a 0 AP built on Unstoppable Force John Randall. The X Factor, Unstoppable Force. They also, Ultimate Legends are kind of great because you can pre-build them, so their set players are really never that expensive. Like, they've become a little bit more expensive as of past weeks, but that's just because the cards are just the clear-cut best at their position. Now, the LTDs, very, very expensive, but that's all LTDs now, so it's not even that blemish on the program at this point because, you know, they're gonna be expensive. The good thing, again, I could say they go up in price, right, as the weeks go on, but it's really all decided by EA. You can't really see anything. There was a, you know, when there was a pack glitch, Jerry Rice was 600k. But when there's no pack glitch, you're going to have Mike Renfeld be 3.4 million coins. I think the LTD this week is Herman Moore. If I can go to the Twitter page, really, I think it's Herman Moore. He gets max security, I believe. Yeah, max security, the X Factor as a 0 AP ability. So it'll be interesting to see if that, like, kind of counters KOs, because I think that's what people were saying on Twitter. Yeah, I'm kind of yapping right now a little bit. When it comes to the new concept. But yeah, Ultimate Legends started out really, really bad, was on pace for F tier. I think I have to put it in low A tier. I don't know how I can't with how good these cards are. Also, again, like Legend, the names of these cards, like Adrian Peterson, Calvin Johnson, Brian Dawkins, Ray Lewis, Jerry Rice, now Andrew Luck, like, these are some of the best, like, most desirable, you know, players in Madden or in NFL history. Even like Deion Sanders, Randy Moss were very, very good cards. Ed Reed was a very good card. I think if I'm looking at the champions, there was like 3 or 4 weeks of these cards being bad. But once they got to Ed Reed and Charles Woodson, man, they flipped the switch. They said, hey, we're gonna make these cards the best every single week. And props to EA. This is like one of the only times they've like adjusted content not mid promo, but like they've said, hey, we see the feedback on these cards just being utter dog shit. We're gonna adjust these and make these cards the best in the game. I love that. So out of respect for the limited things that EA does correctly when it comes to content and feedback, mainly A tier, low of A tier, only because it started out really, really bad. Genkai Force, this is a weird one, because the cards themselves, right? Some of these cards, Derwin James, Kyle Pitts, Dexter Lawrence, really ahead of their time. 4 discounted ability buckets, which we still don't even have cards with those to this day. But the problem is you had to add a champion into the champion to unlock the bucket. So if you wanted to get if you wanted to maximize each card with their abilities and make them the best in the game, it would cost a minimum of 1 million coins. Like, minimum 1 million coins. LTDs would cost upwards of 2-3 million coins altogether. So yeah, but now looking at it, right, would you rather have that, or would you rather EA just give you 1 token and then you have to buy a token for $25? So like, now, like, I think Genkai Force got a lot of hate when it first came out, and I stand by it. Like, I don't think that was the greatest idea, but hey, I would take that over the token structure they did for, what's it called, Ring of Honor and the lighted up tokens with the Super Pro promo. So I'm going to put Genkai Force in the high C tier. Again, because it made I'm sorry, but when you make the champions 1.5 million coins essentially, they're just not obtainable to the common player at all. I also don't recall if they made, like, if you got a champion for free through the field pass, there wasn't a head-to-head event tied to it at all. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in high C tier. Again, some of the cards are still, like, usable today. Kyle Pitts, Dexter Lawrence, Derwin James. But how the program was structured and it, you know, forcing players to spend 1.5 mil to get the best version of the card just sucked at the time. So Genkai Force, although I think I love it because I'm rich, I'm gonna put it in high of C tier. Next up, the NFL Combine program. We all know where this one is going. I'm gonna put this one as the second best program, and the only reason why it is not above the Super Bowl promo is because there was no head-to-head event. We saw possibly some of the best champions we've ever seen in Madden Ultimate Team history in all of the Bo Jacksons, but not only the Bo Jacksons, but like the LTDs were also good, although a little bit expensive. they were worth it because this was the introduction of like the X Factor meta, I would say. Now, yes, Super Bowl kind of started it, but this was the true X Factor meta. I would say this is when it became super popular. But yeah, just like looking at some of these cards, Julio Jones, Rashad Jones was one of the best defensive backs in the game for a while. Tariq Woolen is still a top 20 card in this game because of his universal coverage X Factor. Darius Hayward-Bay started the jukebox meta, man. Like, so many of these cards started metas. Darius Hayward-Bay quite literally started the jukebox meta. Bo Jackson quarterback was the best card in the game for a month, month and a half, 2 months. Is still a top 5 quarterback. Rashad Jones, again, a top 5 defensive back when he came out, or top 2 defensive back when he came out, because you were able to get like all the zone KOs for 3 or 4 AP. The only cards that kind of got ruined ability-wise were DRC, like, and that was it. Quentin Nelson, best left guard. Justin Simmons was the best free safety when he came out. Brian Arakpo, man, this is one of my favorite cards throughout the entire year. A free lurk artist, but also, right, was 6'4", could drop back in coverage with lurk artist, but also had great pass rushing stats. Like, all the receivers were good. Donovan Peoples-Jones. He also had the Fiend team that was really good, too. That I still run to this day. Isaiah Simmons, middle linebacker, was awesome. Patrick Willis was awesome. And then you also had the rookies, the 93 overall rookies. Their first cards are budget gods, man. Like Xavier Legette, Romo Dunze had 96 speed with a theme team that's 97, 98. And they were 100,000 coins. I want to put it above Super Bowl, but there was no head-to-head event. I respect head-to-head events that much, but second best promo this year, in my opinion. And you could easily argue it was the best promo all year long. Team of the Year is up next. Ooh, hard, right? Hard. Team of the Year follows Combine promo, and I think that is the best way I could describe it. None of the Team of the Year cards, except for like Fred Warner and Sauce Gardner and like 1 or 2 of the offensive linemen, were the best at their position. I'm going to put Team of the Year in the high of D tier. And the reason I'm putting it in high D tier, for all the content it was, Team of the Year could easily be an S tier content drop every single year. But for some reason, whoever made the abilities in the cards for the Combine promo clearly did not make the Team of the Year content, because they just gave these cards random. It wasn't even like they made the Team of the Year cards good. They made some of these cards unusable. The wide receivers were good because abilities didn't really matter yet on wide receivers, but the entire defense, like TJ Watt had a 95 overall season in the card, but TJ Watt, I don't even think got Lurk Artist for free. The Fred Warner was good because he got mid-zone and Lurk Artist for free, but they just ruined like a lot of defensive backs. Surtain was a worse version of his 96 overall card. The Jesse Bates, like, just none of these cards, I'm sorry. I'm sure some of you guys had some Team of the Year cards that you loved on your team, but for like Team of the Year they should quite literally be like FIFA, where they are the best players at their position, right? When they come out, they weren't even the second or third best players at their position when they came out. And so for the expectation of Team of the Year, we were all hyped. Like Puka Nacua was okay. The Kyle Hamilton, they had to fix the abilities for him to become a relevant card. But like they ruined L'Jarius Sneed for me. Jameer Gibbs like didn't get jukebox for free. Like they just botched a ton of these cards, man. And like Team of the Year should be a shoo-in for an S tier promo every single year. And so, in terms of expectations and reality, I'm putting it in high D tier because it just was that bad of a content drop. I don't think there was one person following the Team of the Year reveal stream that was like, man, this is exciting content I'm looking forward to. It's like, okay, I'm going to add 1 or 2 of the 25 cards they added in the game. That should never happen. So yeah, that's why for me, it's in D tier. And then free agency, right after that, it was kind of the same story as Team of the Year. The free agency content just was not up to par with the Combine content and even the Super Bowl content. That's another thing. The Team of the Year cards weren't even better than the Super Bowl cards. That's part of the reason why there was a lot of disgust with the Team of the Year promo, and it was the same thing with the free agency promo. The only thing that kind of made these cards stand out was that they got all 32 team camps, but for the most part, they just chose really, really weird champions. For one of the, like, I wouldn't really say the best free agency year ever, but like, no Saquon Barkley as a champion? Like, come on. Like, I get it, you had him playing for weekly wildcards down the line, but no champion in the free agency promo when he was like one of the premier free agency guys. L'Jarius Sneed, just don't give him a Team of the Year, man. Should have been a free agency card. I don't know. Free agency, again, a forgettable content drop. I believe the only card I added to my team was Mike Evans. The rest of the cards were just like, again, like Team of the Year, an extension of Team of the Year, just third or fourth best player at each position. And it's hard when the game is so dictated by abilities. When you don't give good abilities, then the cards themselves aren't that big of names. Like, we're talking Brian Burns, Josh Jacobs was cool, but like Jadobia Wuzier, Michael Pittman Jr., I don't know. Just the names themselves, like, I really remember the community being mad because there was like 4 or 5 big name free agents that just didn't get cards. Like Kirk Cousins, I think, got a 94. Like, how did that brother not get a 9? Like, he was the biggest contract he got all offseason. He does not get a 97 or 98 overall. I don't know, just weird. But yeah, free agency promo. I'm gonna put it. It's a little bit better than Team of the Year because there wasn't the expectation. I'm gonna put it right below. I'm going to put it right ahead of Ultimate. I think that's perfect. It had a lot of champions. For a one-parter, it had a ton of champions. They just weren't that good. So I'm putting it right ahead of Ultimate Kickoff in the C tier. Ring of Honor up next. And the only reason Ring of Honor is not an A tier, and it is going to be in B tier for me, is the token, man. The token that they only gave us one of ruined the promo. Ring of Honor is never going to be bad, though. It's still really good. It was still really good content drop, man. Especially with the LTDs they did of Tony Gonzalez and Lawrence Taylor, kind of added on content. We got 7 overall cards. I would say the only card that just wasn't good was Devin Hester, because for some reason they just didn't give him Jukebox for 0IP. No clue why, or they might have given him Jukebox, but you needed the token for it, and it was just like, how are you going to choose the token over a player that, like Eric Dickerson, where it makes him the best running back in the game, Troy Polamalu, which makes him the best defensive back in the game at the time. If you wanted to run Michael Vick and make him a relevant card, you had to have the token. Again, that's the only reason why this promo is not an A tier. You had to pick and choose, and then on top of that, they then charge $25 for an extra token. Just scumbag behavior out of EA Sports. Again, putting a blemish on it should be like a generational promo, like one that you look forward to every single year, and hopefully they learn from their mistakes and don't have this ever again where they're pretty much paying to unlock abilities. That's stupid, right? All they had to do was just make it like Genkai Force, where if you wanted the extra token or the extra ability slot, just have another 99 overall Ring of Honor card put into a 99 Ring of Honor card, and that would unlock the card. Again, I would have paid like 5 million coins for that token, them charging $25 for it in, when was it, April? Scumbag behavior, and that is why it is in the middle of B tier for me. Sugar Rush, the last seasonal program of the year. Now, the champions for Sugar Rush, let's be honest, not the best. Really weird names, right? Christian Barmore, Nico Collins, like, these are heroes. CJ Mosley, Raheem Mostert wasn't that bad. But, like, the big name cards, like Matt Stafford, Marshawn Lattimore, they just didn't get good abilities. Best card was, the most controversial card of the promo was Andrew Thomas, because he just got announced for part 1, didn't get released until part 2. The LTDs also, like Keenan Allen, Demaryius Thomas was really cool, him getting brought to the game. But the champions themselves, like, weren't that good. I wish we got the Zero Chill as champions combined with the Sugar Rush and how they did eggs. In my opinion, eggs worth like 10 times better than presents, and that's why Sugar Rush for me is going to be smack dab in the middle of B tier. I love how they did eggs. Yes, they were limited, but you could exchange alternate currency or coins for alternate currency and then get pretty much as many eggs as you want. Like, you got a lot. Like, you had to spend 10, 15 million coins to get all the eggs, which is enough for almost every single player in MUT, pretty much except me. And on top of that, you were able to pull, like, almost everybody at least had one LTD egg if you pulled the extravagant baskets, which was really, really cool. They didn't really gatekeep them like they did the Zero Chill presents. So, and then again, also the players themselves, like, Brian Branch was really, really good. Harold Carmichael's still one of the best receivers in the game. Ted Henderson, one of the best users in the game at the time. I love how they did it. The only reason why this one is probably... Actually, I'm going to put it... You know what? Because I hold the head-to-head event so highly, and they did not do a head-to-head event. Or they did, but it was a house rules event, and it sucked. I'm going to put it ahead of Most Feared. But the only reason why it's really in B tier... If it was Champions, it'd be in C tier. If it was based on eggs, I'd probably have it in high B tier. If there was a head-to-head event, it probably is in A tier, but it doesn't have that, so... I'm going to put it in low B tier. Again, I love the eggs, but that's just the menu player in me speaking. But overall, as a promo, it wasn't that good. Next up, we've got Real Deals, a new content drop because they had, you know, Hollywood stars. They had Roman Reigns. We have WWE. Well, I don't think I don't follow WWE, but he's not, like, he doesn't hold the right. That's, what's his name? Cody Rhodes? Cody Rhodes, I think is his name. So I do not watch WWE at all, but I do understand that. I think he lost it at some event over the summer, but Real Deals, man. Odd because some of the cards they released were god tier, and then other cards were just not that good. Now, they had the tokens, but you were able to earn the tokens, which was like a step up. And I actually, Ring of Honor was after Real Deals. I'm sorry, that was like the one promo that was not in order. But Real Deals had the tokens, but were able to earn them all just through objectives, which is perfect, right? Now, I don't really think they should be putting us on errands to get the tokens just to make the cards the best version of themselves, but at least it's better than the Ring of Honor program. But like Nod the Awesome is still, in my opinion, like a top 20 player, a top 5 defensive back because of his universal coverage that you can get for free. The Ed O'Neill card, although it's very, very expensive, a very, very good middle linebacker. But a lot of these cards kind of got botched abilities. I'm going to put this one in the high of C tier. A unique promo, but they just kind of didn't like the abilities on these cards. Like, we're just kind of... Like, Brian Bosworth was slow. Burt Reynolds was whatever. Roman Reigns was good because of his unstoppable force X factor. Bradshaw was meh. Gronk, the problem with Gronk is his player ability. Can't really juke, although he's still a good card. A lot of the LTDs, though, were very expensive. They just weren't that good. Fred Williamson abilities were terrible. Bob Golick's abilities were terrible. John Amos didn't get the best of abilities. I don't think Howie Long doesn't get Lurk Artist. Heinz Ward was just... He's just there. Like, the only really, really good cards out of this promo were Ed O'Neill and Nabi Asma, and there wasn't anything else to it. There was no head-to-head event. The packs themselves, like, weren't that crazy until there was a loophole with them. So, I'm putting it in high in C tier. I think that's where it belongs. Next up, we've got the NFL draft promo. We're coming to the end of this video. Now, the draft promo was really weird. Why? The head-to-head draft event, S tier, right? The uniqueness of drafting a team with no abilities was awesome. It gave out amazing rewards if you were able to win games, which is awesome. But the actual cards of the NFL draft promo belonged in F tier. And for that reason, I'm going to put it smack dab in the middle of C tier. We'll put it right behind Zero Chill. Actually, I had a zero. No, behind Zero Chill. And so that's the best way I can describe it. The actual content, the champions, F tier. The head-to-head event, generational. One of the best we've seen this entire year that got people back onto MUT, which was awesome for, you know, a week and a half. Also, the NFL draft live cards were not terrible. Kind of sucked that the two cards I was looking forward to the most, Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison, did not get cards because they did not sign their NFLPA agreement. But the NFL draft promo, I put it in C tier. Hopefully you understand that ranking. Probably belongs in F tier if you just don't include the head-to-head draft event. And the last, and we're not going to do the Hispanic Month and Black History Month promos, as well as the Asian American, Native American, something like that. Just because they aren't really promos. I took their screenshot out there, but we're not going to rate them because it would be disrespectful. Just put them in F tier because I just have not used the card all year from that. But Infinite Flux, weird. We end with the worst promo this year. Debated, right? I had the conversation in my head. What was worse, Gridiron Guardians or Infinite Flux? Gridiron Guardian had like 3 or 4 or 5 really like usable cards. Now, it was boring at the time, but they still were usable cards. Infinite Flux, quite literally, like, is really bad. Like, these cards are on par with like Team of the Year cards. Like, genuinely. Like, if they gave them a 97 overall, I would like, okay, that makes sense. If we look at the champions and the LTDs, I could confidently say there are, I mean, Quentin Nelson's best left guard in the game. Olukun is like the 4th or 5th best middle linebacker in the game. George Kittle, if you run the ball a ton, he has honorary lineman for 0 AP, which is cool. Cordell Patterson, he's cool, but he doesn't, like, these cards just, if this promo released in Madden 15 and abilities weren't a thing, this is an S tier promo, because the names are actually really good. Like Jamar Chase, you know, Matthew Judon, Amari Cooper, Marlon Humphrey, but you can tell, like, the abilities that they gave to these cards with the same abilities, the person designing the Team of the Year content, the free agency content, probably designed the Infinite Flux content and the draft content. That's the only thing that makes sense. That is the only explanation for how bad these cards are when it comes to abilities, which sucks. Yeah, they're 99 overalls. They have amazing stats, but their abilities suck. So on that front, they suck altogether. But that's going to do it all for the Madden 24 tier listing of promos. Yes, there's still a few more promos to go. I didn't really rate golden tickets because it's only been the first few drops. But yeah, this is the final product. I think I'm happy with where I put every single promo. Let me know down in the comments if I made any drastic mistakes and what was your favorite promo of the Madden 24 year. I will talk to you guys soon. Until next time, peace.